And good morning. A live look in downtown Indianapolis this morning. Waking up with us, we're so happy. It's 6 o'clock on a Friday. So if you can get behind that, heading into the weekend. And we're looking over here, it's a little warmer than it was yesterday morning. Lindsay saying because of that cloud coverage, and I suppose we'll take it, right?
Yeah, you might have the Taylor Swift album on in the car. Maybe a little bit of heat blowing, depending on if you're enjoying the cooler temperatures to start in the morning, but you can crank it back up to the AC a little bit later today.
Yeah, I was telling you guys I had the weird combination of like the windows half down, but my seat warmer on.
Yeah, it's a perfect combination.
It is actually.
Yeah, you get some of that cool fresh air, but also a little cool out there this morning. But with that being said, we are trending upward. First, wanted to start with some of the cloud cover that I was talking about. We had some of those high thin clouds that rolled in yesterday. You probably noticed that. Didn't amount to much, but it did keep our temperatures perhaps a degree or two cooler than what they would have been if the sky would have been completely clear. So looping our radar here over the past several hours, things been pretty quiet across the state. We have still kept a little bit of cloud cover around, also a little bit more in the way of cloud activity between Indianapolis and St. Louis. So we're kind of watching this zone here for perhaps a little bit more in the way of cloud development this morning. Otherwise, we're going to see that starting to clear out over the next few hours. Temperatures have changed quite a bit. I mean, 6 hours, or I should say 6 degrees in the past 24 hours is pretty significant. 7 over in Greencastle. Those are increased temperatures from this time yesterday. That means we are still in the low 60s in between Indianapolis and Greencastle, and where we've had a little bit of lingering cloud cover versus where that sky has been mostly clear, our temperature running a few degrees warmer in the south versus northern tier of the state. Here's how this is going to play out for us today. We're going to await the mid 80s this afternoon again for highs under that mostly sunny sky again for today. That number there, that's about 14 degrees above average for Indianapolis this time of year. Mid 80s take us through next Monday. We'll talk about some increasing rain chances and cooler weather headed our way. That's in your full forecast. But first, we'll get you out to the traffic center. I want to take you over to Hancock County, where we've had some overnight construction. This was initially supposed to wrap up by about the 6 o'clock hour, but you can still see we've got crews out there working, and this is creating a pretty significant backup right now. If you're traveling on I-70 eastbound in between Mount Comfort Road and State Road 9, that's the Greenfield exit on I-70 eastbound. Traveled down to just one lane as they're working on some paving and some road marking operations. This has been going on throughout the duration of the overnight. So this is creating a bit of a slowdown here. I want to take this to the maps and kind of show you where this is located on I-70. Again, not a major issue outside of Hancock County, but if you are traveling in this area, it is something that we'll keep an eye on for you. Should reopen here momentarily. We'll let you know when those lanes do reopen.
Well, it's a developing story that we've been following closely all morning. We now know that 4 people are hurt after a fire at an apartment complex on the far west side. 2
of those injuries we know are children. There are also reports firefighters tell us of people who had to jump out of second-story windows to escape the fire. They were called to the Port-au-Prince Street just after 3:15 this morning. After the reports of those people trapped there, firefighters found an apartment engulfed in flames. They say some people, again, had to jump to escape those fires.
2 people were taken to the hospital to be checked out. 2 others were checked out there on the scene. We're working to learn just how serious those injuries might be. But more than a dozen people this morning are looking for a new place to stay. This morning, a man is in a critical condition after he was shot by IMPD officers.
Metro Police say the man was wanted on multiple charges. This happened on Grant Avenue near 10th Street and Sherman Drive yesterday, just before 6 in the evening. Police say they found him inside of a detached garage. When they ordered him to come out with his hands up, instead, they said he did follow them, but as he was walking towards officers, they say he stopped, reached for his waist, and then tried to run. That's when IMPD says one of the officers tased him and another one shot him.
Police say while he was on the ground, the suspect was still reaching for his waist, and that's when 2 more officers shot him. The 3 officers who fired their weapons were placed on administrative leave. That is standard IMPD protocol in an officer-involved shooting like this. Anna Chalker is following the latest on this investigation. We'll check in with her at 6:30.
Well, this morning, a person is in critical condition after a shooting on Indy's southeast side. This happened around 3 yesterday afternoon near Wagner Lane and East Raymond Streets. Police tell us they detained one person at the scene, but have not provided any other information about whether they are a suspect.
A troubled apartment complex on the far east side is now gone.
Town and Terrace, it has been a problem spot for years, according to police and residents. In fact, in 2020 alone, Metro Police say they responded to this complex 400 times. After legal battles between the city and the complex's owner, demolition started 2 years ago.
Well, the city county councilor that represents this area says it's up to the community to decide what's next for this space.
I would love to see a little bit of economic development, businesses, community space, libraries, whatever that looks like, a grocery store.
It would be nice if they had units, apartments at the top and shops at the bottom.
Well, as part of this teardown process, city leaders help people in 120 households find some new places to live.
Well, police are urging drivers and bicyclists to be more careful as we're seeing an increase in crashes involving them.
Yeah, one area of concern is the Monon. Hundreds of people use this trail. It's 27 miles every day. Yellow lights do flash above the crossing when you get there and approach at 16th Street.
When we stopped by, though, for the most part, the drivers were slowing down or even came to a complete stop. But police want to remind you that's not always required of the driver.
At these intersections, who has the right of way? It depends. Sometimes it's pedestrians if they're in their intersection, and sometimes it's the motorists.
So IMPD also reminding drivers, if there is a crash, no matter the circumstances, you must always stay at the scene and cooperate with investigators. Well, today the Senate will hold a fourth vote on that spending bill to try and reopen the federal government.
It is unlikely to pass. The Senate Majority Leader says that he's considering a talk with the Minority Leader. In the meantime, he says if today's vote fails again, he'll hold another one on Monday on the same bill.
Democrats do say they want to negotiate changes here, and they say their primary goal is to stop health care premiums from going up for people on Obamacare.
Enact a spending agreement that actually meets the needs of the American people while at the same time addressing the Republican health care crisis.
We are asking Democrats to do nothing more than pass a clean, nonpartisan bill to fund the government for a few more weeks so that we can get back to bipartisan appropriations work.
The White House does say the President Trump plans to fire thousands of federal workers during this shutdown, and that, of course, could start as early as today.
Well, back here at home, we're looking at how the government shutdown is impacting us in Indiana.
So for one, we do know that food banks, they're already getting ready. They say they could start to see more people coming in anytime now. We know this happened during the last shutdown. Marina joins us with more on that story. Good morning, Marina.
Good morning. Well, local food banks are preparing for an influx of people should that government shutdown continue. Now, that could be the first thing people go to when they need help. Federal nutrition programs like SNAP, WIC, and more could feel the impact if the government shutdown lasts several weeks or longer. Right now, local food banks are saying they have not seen more people just yet, but if this goes on longer, that could change. The CEO of Hoosier Hills Food Bank says things like food are expensive for families right now.
A lot of people are really living on the margins these days. And one thing, the loss of one paycheck, the loss of benefits for a month or a few weeks, something like that could really be a serious setback.
Now, just a heads up, the School Nutrition Association is also reminding families they can apply for free and reduced school meals anytime when it comes to income loss.
Doesn't need to be at the beginning of the school year or anything
You
like
can do
that.
it today.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Thank you, Marina.
Well, right now, baristas at Starbucks here at Indianapolis, they're getting ready for a possible strike.
Yeah, they're joining colleagues across the country calling this for a fair contract.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
That's the crowd chanting outside the Starbucks on Mass Ave. It's the only location in the city that's unionized. And yesterday, they were out for what they called a practice picket.
Yeah, this is good. They're organized. I love that. They're practicing before it happens. And they do say Starbucks isn't listening to their needs or even their wants. So they want better pay, better hours, and especially more staffing.
We are just given more and more and more responsibility, but with no flexibility in scheduling, no extra staffing. We aren't receiving enough to be able to make these happen and to give the proper customer experience that Starbucks had originally intended.
So a Starbucks spokesperson tells 13 News actions like this create even more delays in reaching a mutual agreement for single store contracts. Spokesperson also says the company is ready to finalize a fair contract, but they need union members to get back to the bargaining table as well.
Well, yesterday, hundreds of IPS students took over the American Legion Mall downtown.
So this was to learn all about the heroes who fought in the Civil War. So this is the 27th year for the Spirit of Freedom celebration. It really connects kids in grades 4 through 6 with historical reenactors demonstrating the crucial role African Americans played in the Civil War.
We feel it is critical that students know and understand who they are and where they come from. And this means all students, because we can't disconnect white history from black history, from brown history. It has to go together so students can make sense of their world.
So IPS set up different stations all along the American Legion Mall. Maybe you saw this yesterday. Did you see President Lincoln out there? You could have. So they talked with people like also Harriet Tubman, Abraham Lincoln, even Frederick Douglass.
That's cool. I love this story. Your time right now is 6:11. Still to come. Whoa, look at this.
Wow.
An explosion at an oil refinery led to this massive fire. We'll tell you about the major concern for people living in this area.
And the Fever wrapped up the season after Tuesday's heartbreaking loss. Why? Stephanie White says she is proud of everything this team accomplished.